Welcome to Grab Load. And here, Microsoft did an interview. Actually, Phil Spencer did an interview with Destin. And that was a good video interview if you want to take a look at that. But some of my thoughts on that coming out of it, of where Phil Spencer was talking about kind of the forethought of Xbox, where he sees it going, was actually really good just to see Phil Spencer out there because we've seen a lot more of Satya Nadella and some other executives than we saw of Phil. So you kind of got put like, what is the direction? Is it more corporate where we need our numbers to be exact here, or we're going to take extreme measures, or is it more of Phil is an executive there too, but Phil's also interacted with the gamers a lot more on having a pathway. I see him as a pathway between there, between Microsoft and the gamers of what are we trying to, or what Microsoft's trying to achieve with their games. And it is important, right? This whole Activision Blizzard King deal, along with um, Bethesda and everything else that Microsoft has, it's important. Gamers are concerned and wanting to know what's going to happen, right? It's not just a thing with Xbox as in consoles exclusive. It's also a thing of what games will be coming out and how are you going to be, creating new IP or existing IP of new, series in that IP that gamers can then play and have access to. And some of the interesting things that I really took away from this interview, and it was nice to see, is that um, you know he wants to have the games come across and be wherever the gamer is. Now, like I said, you still got to do something for your Xbox fans, right? How are you going to give them the items that they need? And maybe that is just Game Pass, where it's going to be really weird because I don't think Game Pass is, at least for me, Game Pass hasn't sold me of being the thing that if you are a gamer you need to have. And maybe Microsoft will get there, but is that going to be something that really pushes this? But the idea of making sure that your games are wherever the gamer is and that they're cross-platform and everything else, I think that is going to be the longevity of it is going to be a big thing because they keep talking about this longevity thing, hinting at it here and there between different executives. I do not think it's just that these games are on different platforms. I think that the longevity is that we are creating these IPs and they need to be in Game Pass for very long periods of time so that people can go back and play them, but also that these games are going to be played for a very long time. We don't just have a game here and then within 10 years it disappears, which is something I've been concerned about with DRM and all these servers and going down. We've seen other game studios close down servers and stuff, and it'd be a real rift because I like to go back and play games. I like to, I really do like to go. I have a couple of my favorite games I like to go back and play every once in a while. And this whole thing of just them being gone or not being able to be played, I think Phil Spencer sees that there might be a problem here if we don't consciously make an effort to make sure that we are cleaning this up or having a pathway for these games to be played without them just going bye bye forever. So that is one thing I did take away from kind of this Destin interview, just kind of going through and taking things out of what Phil Spencer was talking about. Now, he did talk about exclusive and time exclusives. I think that a time exclusive is fine. I think that you give your players that are maybe on your platform a little bit, but I also see the need that you got to pay off a studio, and if you are going to release on other platforms, maybe you can get some more money into the coffers here to make some more games, right? I'm really concerned about getting games to gamers. That's the big thing. I think you still have to do something for your fans, your most, devote fans that are going to, promote your game without needing you to hype it up, have a commercial, right? Those fans you still got to do something for. So what is it, a time exclusive, or is it something on the other side of things, which is hardware? Maybe the hardware is going to be your way to kind of give back to your fans and show them we're going to give you a couple options here that nobody else is going to be able to or want to really put out here. And so that's where I think that they may actually differentiate things from, and not so much the games, put the games everywhere, but then also make some hardware the differentiator for those gamers that are and their biggest fans. And they talked about a little bit about the handheld and just the next Xbox being hardware being a differentiator. I actually think that they're going to have they already have the Xbox S, right? And that's a low power console. While developers may not like it, what if you were to do something like this next generation? Make the Xbox probably going to be an S series again, and then an well, not series, but an X nomenclature on there, and a S and an X, right, to be the two differentiators of the consoles. Maybe even a handheld. Well, the S one already right now for developers is hard to develop for, but if there was a handheld, that would probably be maybe the same spec as an S in some regards. So by doing this, let's say you get some more generic PC hardware, not so much these custom APUs that Microsoft's currently using, but something maybe a little bit different. And here they go, where you can develop for all three devices, and that low power console is maybe a little bit closer to the handheld and not such a big a developing hurdle as the current S is. That's just something I've been thinking about. How do you tackle this problem of doing multiple console developments in in one Xbox, right? And then also you have PlayStation, the Switch, stuff like that. So how do you really get to there? And I think that's one way they can do it, is that they already have, these developers are already trying to go to the S. Well, you're going to take that same knowledge over for the low power console or whatever they're going to do next time, and you also get the handheld then in there. And if it's close to PC hardware, at least then the PC side gets a little bit easier to develop for, and then you just have the PlayStation that you have to port to and the Switch, and you don't have the big hurdle to get over just to get the all the Xbox hardware and the PC hardware to work together. I think that's what Microsoft is going to do, but we'll see if that comes to fruition, right? Who knows? We're still early in the cycle. We don't know when this is going to come out, but this is some of the things I'm thinking about. One other thing that Phil Spencer talked about is Destin asked him about the defining Xbox, and he put it a little bit where Xbox itself, Microsoft doesn't define what Xbox means or how it's defined, right? The fans do, the people that play Xbox, that are buying the Xbox games, they're the ones that define it. And that's kind of what I said on one of my prior videos of this. And I agree, right? It is a fans are deciding what the definition of what Xbox is. A company can maybe try to do certain things to get the fans to do something, but if the fans don't come to that item, guess what? It's not the definition of it. It's just a thing that you close down. And if Microsoft is able to, want to keep the fans in, you just give the fans stuff here and there, right? It doesn't have to be spectacular. It just has to be that showing appreciation that there are people willing to stick by you and whatever you release and everything else and support you when it could be just as easy just to go the other way. So that's just, something I want to say about the fan side. But overall, right, we'll see within the next year-ish or so to see how Microsoft is going to be committed to gamers on everything they've purchased and all the games, and then we'll see what the console's like when that finally comes out within the next couple of years, I'm guessing, or a few years, to see where Microsoft stands and what the direction of gaming is and how they're going to reward their fans for sticking by them. Now, maybe it is the whole console stuff and giving the fans a little bit more in that area, and then making the games just cross-platform all throughout. And we'll see how that does, right? Microsoft needs to pay off a $70 billion purchase. There was what ZeniMax was, that was $8 billion, I want to say, or something like that. So there's a lot of money there that they have to pay off or have to get value from. And releasing titles across platforms is going to be a big one. And if you're somebody that wants to get into gaming, what would I suggest you do? Like, if you wanted to buy games, play as many games as possible, I'd say you're on the PC. The only thing you're missing then is there might be some PlayStation games that don't come, but really the Nintendo games. And maybe one day we'll see. I'm joking. I don't see that day coming anytime soon from Nintendo. But this is just some of those things where, to me, I don't play as many games as I'd like to anymore. Right, family, kids, and just haven't had the time. But one thing I like to see from this is that these creations, I find them entertainment, artworks. There is a combination of things are able to be out there for people that do enjoy them and play them, and when I have time to be able to play them myself. And if you're going to shrink that from everything you have bought Microsoft, you're going to shrink that. I don't think that's good for the whole gaming ecosystem. And maybe this interview with Phil has kind of pointed me in the direction that at least Phil understands that the goal is the whole gaming ecosystem needs to, breathe some life into it from the Microsoft side, and that's what he's trying to do rather than just say games have to be everywhere. Instead, we have to breathe life into the games everywhere so that we have an opportunity to give more back to the community. Maybe that's what he's trying to get to. But that's my thoughts on this, and more games the better, because everyone has a different genre that they like to play, and if we can get those games and more games for people that want to play them, I think people will be more excited. And it's a lot of games out there. There's a lot of good entertainment, and hopefully it makes more creative ideas out there, and maybe Microsoft will take some chances on some stuff out there too. So we'll see. Let me know your thoughts on this whole Xbox gaming side of things. What would you like to see from some of these studios that Microsoft has bought up over the years? And thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate your support for Graver Load and helping this channel grow. It really does help with the channel. Until next time, God bless.